All right, we want to get back now to LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Kathryn Barger. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We're good on the audio. Okay, we got it kinked out. Thank you so much. We heard your press briefing earlier this morning, and also this morning, the LA Times out with a piece about the late emergency alert to evacuate residents west of Lake Avenue in Altadena. That was a big story at the time. The article sources two unnamed county officials. Those sources say LA County emergency management officials were not instructed to notify those residents and are not to blame for the failures. So I want to ask you, who is to blame?
Well, I'm not going to place blame on anybody or any entity right now, because we've got a report that's going to be coming in from an independent outside consultant that's going to really address what happened, but also what we need to fix moving forward. It's important when we give alerts that they're credible, and it's obvious that there was a breakdown somewhere, and I'm going to reserve judgment till I hear from someone from the outside that's going to really dig down deep.
Well, that's, we're talking about the recovery efforts. Part of that is these independent investigations looking at things. I think people are talking about accountability when it comes to both city and county officials. Just from your point of view, how would you grade the handling by the county of your efforts? What grade would you give it so far?
That is a good question, and I've thought long and hard about what we should have done differently. In talking to the fire chief, this truly was a once in his lifetime experience as it relates to a firestorm. We had hurricane winds, and it was the perfect storm. And I would say that our firefighters, I cannot lie. They did Herculean things. Evacuating over 600 people from skilled nursing facility that was under threat at the beginning of the fire. But again, we're doing an outside independent review on the emergency alert system, but we also do an after action plan that's going to look at what should have been done differently. Our fire chief carried over and the entire force that was coming off duty to make sure that we had boots on the ground and we had the trucks and engines where they needed to be. So, I think that across the board, people did their best. I've talked to sheriffs who work up in Altadena area who are beating themselves up. What could we have done differently? We're going to have a lot of lessons learned, but, I think it's too early to give any blame or any I don't even know what the word would be other than shedding any disgrace, if you will, on any entity that tried to do their best to save lives and property.
I want to talk to you quickly about some deadlines coming up for applications for the fire victims. The clock runs out today at 5 p.m. The application period just opened several weeks ago. Is this enough time for victims? Have people asked for an extension? Is that a consideration?
We'll always consider an extension depending upon the number of applications we get in. But understand this, we've been building up both with FEMA, SBA, and then we are putting in the money to help with small businesses and with people. So we'll look at the application process, and obviously if we need to extend it, we will. But I'm really pushing people to apply. We've done a grassroots effort to get the word out that you can apply. We've made it as easy as possible to get this application in. So I'm hoping that people will take advantage of the money that's available to those with no strings attached.
Really quickly before we let you go, any concern about the storms coming in?
Yeah. Very concerned about the storms coming in. First of all, we talk about the emergency alert system. We know that Sierra Madre has done an evacuation order. We know that we are putting people on notice that they need to be prepared. Please, we saw the last incident that occurred, especially up in Sierra Madre, the amount of rain that came down in a short period of time impacting the canyons. It's important for us to recognize that this fire is 2 months old, so especially our hills are unstable, and it's important for us to all heed the advice of the officials saying, please stay away, and if you live up there, better to self-evacuate at this point, better to be safe than sorry.
I think that's a great message for people, because that alert did go out this morning, but it's not necessarily raining that hard right now. So hopefully people take the time to prepare themselves. Kathryn, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We really appreciate you taking the time.